Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap. Today is, where are we here? I think it's Tuesday. Tuesday, 15th of June. Halfway through the month. Geez, where did June go? And that went by quick. We've got big options expiry coming up here on the 18th, and usually the June options expiry, that's a big sort of institutional month. So I got a funny feeling there's some shenanigans going around on with that. I short a bunch of the Canadian banks. A lot of the U.S. banks look pretty heavy here. It's probably because there's a bunch of call options that they don't want to expire in the money. As well, too, we've got sort of U.S. stimulus passage, big bills, huge... keep the money printers just printing away, diluting the shit out of the currency, head us into this new generation banker tax, whatever the hell you want to call it. Looks like they've gotten away with it, but I do believe that they need to inject a little bit more fear into the public. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually knock the stock market down here a bit over the next week or two to try and facilitate that fear. And get the politicians scrambling, and they pass whatever it takes to keep the fugazi going. So there's our backdrop. I mean, it's kind of a funny world that we live in, but it is what it is. Tuesdays on TRI, we have two what I would consider, blossoming professionals in the futures trading industry. I think, by the time they're done, their careers, I think these two are going to have a serious impact on the industry. Kiran and Daniele. It's funny, we used to load up the Top Step, my old prop from their morning show. Daniele used to do it, but now we run our own show and our own environment on the site. We don't even bother going back to Top Step anymore. So I'm wondering, I'm sure the guys at Top Step are like, hey, where did all those Beamish people go? Anyway, and actually somebody's even asking in the lounge, I'm a free 30-day trial person. How do I participate in this day trading room? So obviously we're resonating. I got to tell you, man, these two Tuesdays is their day to take over the daily brief, and I think they do a fantastic job between the two of them. And what I also see, which is fantastic too, because it's very hard for me as an individual, one guy, to sit there and go, look at process. That's the most important thing. Not the money. Forget about the goddamn money and focus on the process. And these two are actually building, and they're going to teach a day trading program on the site. Their focus is the process goals. In fact, Kiran even said, it's not a measure of confidence in the market if you make money in the market trading. What's actually a measure of confidence in the market is if you're okay, if you lose money trading that day. And frankly speaking, I love that thinking. Follow the process. If you actually lose money like a professional, you should be actually perfectly okay with that. So, like I said, fantastic presentation from our professional futures trader community this morning, Daniele and Kiran. As you can see, squiggly lines up and down like a horse drawers. I actually did go in and buy a couple of cryptocurrencies, and I went in and bought a pharmaceutical stock. I think it's what the hell business are these guys in? They're in so many different businesses. I can't figure out what exactly they do. Industry leading brand protection. What the hell does that mean? But we were looking at the fundamentals. Not bad share count. Pretty good cash on the books. Not bad book value of the company. And then they're in some sort of acquisition binge right now. So they went and did a big financing to further pay for an acquisition. That's the impression that I get. And they obviously had to do the financing quite a bit below the market, and I think they did the deal at $1.50, $1.55 or something like that. And the stock just got absolutely destroyed here this morning on just staggering volume, right? I mean, what's the volume it's done here today? You saw there's only 27 million shares out, and the volume here today is 48.67 million. So obviously the traders, they're just messing around with this stock right now. But the problem is that the stock went out yesterday at $3 or whatever, and they announced, oh, by the way, we're doing a deal at $1.50. Of course the stock's going to crater because it's going to go to where the financing's done. So I stepped in at I think $1.62 or something like that and picked up a whack of it this morning. Well, we'll see what happens. It's kind of fun. But that's kind of the thing that I'm doing in the market. I'm not betting the farm right now. We've talked lots over the past little while about how I honestly believe that the politicians are going to be played here by the banksters to make damn sure that those stimulus packages go through. So I don't believe anything I'm seeing in the market until we get past that legislation date and well into things like July. So, your conversation that we like to have with you guys, I like to just frame it off of just a nice overview. Of course, every once in a while I head off onto these crazy tangents and let my personal opinions spill out, which really isn't that productive. So my apologies to anybody who's like long-time listener listening to my rants of lately. And I even was, I actually took the time to respond to people who did post comments and stuff on the channel. And I even told one guy, he's kind of like, well, Brian, isn't that a bit irresponsible getting so like, oh, let's all go to war? And I actually responded to him, you're absolutely right. Rhetoric that's not really anything to do with trading and more to do with my personal anger towards countries' hostage-taking policies of my citizens of my country doesn't really have a place in these videos, but I'm a human, trying my best, and this whole Two Michaels thing, it really, really bothers me as a Canadian citizen. So unfortunately I do let my personal opinions get a little bit in the way. Sorry, folks. Anyway, U.S. dollar index, which is sort of our hegemony proxy. Is the U.S. dollar index still paramount in the world? I actually get the impression through this G7 meeting and them sort of saying, hey, we're going to start getting a little firmer on China. We're going to start getting a little bit firmer on Russia. Let's try and work together as a team. And sort of show a united front. Believe it or not, actually, that in itself, I think, is actually a vote of confidence in the U.S. dollar index, and sort of the continuation of the Fakese, continuation of business as usual. Probably that Japanification is going to be the theme of our next 10, 15 years in the West. Add a zero onto the end of all your prices. Bitcoin's 100, 200,000, but a loaf of bread's $50, right? So, now we're starting to get 1, 2, 3, like 3 higher lows here, higher highs. I mean, that technically is the definition of a bull run. We'll see if we can start actually breaking previous bearish structure here and actually do some serious bullish technical damage here. Right now, I'd still say the jury's out. And, of course, we got one big showdown this evening, which actually I'm a little surprised. I haven't heard too many people talk about on the site, but I think it's going to be, kind of significant. Mr. Biden's meeting with Mr. Putin, I think, tomorrow. So in a weird sort of way, I do think also that the market's kind of on pause to a certain degree, waiting for that shoe to drop as well. So, there you go. Should I be stepping in on this UUP? In fact, I put out a outside upside bullish key reversal the other day and pick up another call. I might, It's still sitting in that buy zone. There is reload zones. So that's definitely still on the table for me. Uh, so risk on, risk off. You're actually starting to see some anecdotal evidence in the marketplace that the market does not like this crude oil price is continually just ratcheting higher here. Hats off to the oil bulls. Anybody who had the cojones to step up and just load up on crude oil, I would have never considered the trade. I think I told you how much I dislike the oil trade now, but so fucking what? You know, nobody cares about my opinion. It sure looks to me like we're heading up into this $90 area. I can't see anything stopping this. The only the only issue there is well, on another screen I'll show you. Let's see where it is. At some point, the rising crude oil market will actually start to affect companies' profitability. And you might actually even hear people say, well, gee whiz, this is cutting into the bottom line. And that actually is, where the hell is it? Our Dow, here we are. Dow theory signals. Now, the only problem with Dow theory here is that the assumption is the industrials themselves go to new highs. But you can see just on balance, there's a bit of a disconnect here, right? The industrials are in teal, and I think I said this to you yesterday. There's the transports. Transports are not really that happy. Now, maybe we go in W out here and away we go. But right now, I think they're kind of buckling over the rising crude price. It's getting a little uncomfortable. The industrials themselves, they started to yawn a little bit. And also, too, remember I said that I kind of like the idea of the market being weak into the end of the month to force the politicians' hands. So that kind of, aligns with all that. Maybe the way that you bring the stock market down is you just go and load up on crude oil futures. And just cause this market to go into disconnect. The transports freak out, and Dow theory sell signals, blah, 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 blah. Also, sort of part of, like a validation of this oil going absolutely crazy here, and the market not liking it. We spent a lot of time, Kiran, of course, trades gold specifically. We spent a lot of time dissecting. That is a very, very well-defined double top breakdown. And actually, even if you look at it like on a clothesline basis, there used to be gold bugs that used to follow my channel, and I think they gave up after a while. But like if I said that, what are we supposed to think if you see the market smiling at you? The gold bugs would absolutely hate when I say something like that, but that does not look good. That's not bullish chart. Now remember, we've been tracking this all the way along here. The buy signal was way down here, and I do, like on some gold stocks, I do still have bids working down here, but not up here. And that's it's a few dollars. That's probably good $100, so about 5% on the price. So be forewarned. That's looking awfully toppy with the oil looking crazy uppy. Jeez. Let's see. Where do we go next? So oil still pushing higher. I do have a couple oil proxies on the books, but I'm not proud of it. I might bang out doubles on them, but I might just not report those trades because I'm awfully embarrassed that I still own oil. I'm not supposed to be profiting off of this evil stuff. Remember I said this yesterday, and man, this is cool. I drew this like way back here. So what is that? That's back in the winter time. I drew this. Anybody watching this channel, you've seen this exact same study on these charts the whole damn winter, spring, and now into summer. And, it's basically what... And, Kevin was showing us about how, market symmetry, this off, it looks like a head and shoulders. So we're going through this period right now. Right? You can already start, like I showed you, there's the smiley face. It's already there. So the question ultimately is, how deep do we go here? My crazy prognostication said we really puke out hard here, but I don't know. I mean, if anything, I would probably prefer that we just ride this trend line down here for the next little while. The market that I am scared to death with, but not really. I don't have any personal exposure to it, thank heavens. I don't carry a lot of debt. I don't have any credit card debt. I just don't play those games. So as a result, I couldn't give a shit about interest rates. But I'll tell you, man, this is looking. Now we're actually starting to get an empire here. This, like Socialist Joe. I think the market's kind of going. U.S. You want more debt, and by the way, you're running $1 trillion deficits. I mean, this is getting out of control. So, and ironically enough, I think that's exactly what the 1% wants. The only way to stop this runaway bull market was they had to program the public into demanding free money, demanding that their government go massively into debt, demanding that the whole fucking fabric of the market change. And basically that's what the sickness has done here. We've gone from sort of austerity and, belt tightening and trying to keep a lid on things to Uncle Joe's got a checkbook. Everybody hit him up as hard as you can because, hey, the free money is flowing. And in my country, it's embarrassing. We got fucking Barbie as the finance minister. And a high school teacher running our country, acting like he understands finances. Really, all I see is he's a puppet of the banks and the banksters, and he's being played. Which is so sad, because 10, 20, 30 years now, this is just like Woodrow Wilson. Exactly the same part of the cycle. My hunch is this Trudeau guy 10, 15 years from now is going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe I made that horrible decision to let the banksters do this to our country. I mean, you could see it coming. It's so obvious. But oh well. As he would say in the middle of the crisis, oh, but what would you have us do? How about I would have you suggest to the public that you don't live in debt? That stop living beyond your means. Get rid of the credit cards. Just tear them up. Get rid of the new car. Drive a used car for a while. Like that's going to work. Oh, well. What can you do? So, Fugazi, I do believe interest rates have turned. 35 years of rising interest rates. Now, we have come down an awful long way. I actually would expect, like as you can see from my study, that the rally was even stronger than it was, but it's just not that strong. And if we start rolling back over negative here, that could get ugly. Looking at sort of the speculative part of the market, risk on. If oil is surging higher in bank stocks and, actually banks look kind of toppy. I shorted some banks. But the stock market generally, I think like NASDAQ looks very strong. I would expect on balance things like crypto and things like the junior stock market to be doing okay here. So, junior market, we kind of postulated, what the heck was this formation that they're carving out here? The absolute nutso. I mean, through this period, it was ridiculous. It was like, how many doubles are you banging out a day? I mean, it was ridiculous, the money. Kind of gone through a very nice, healthy, normal seasonal correction. So we're not quite through May, June yet. But usually, by the time we get to like this July period, we've done with the correction. We're going to start heading back up again. So you can see on balance, the correction window, like you're like looking at May going, oh God, what's this going to look like? Well, we're doing okay here. And we're almost through the worst of this. Could there be one more dip here just to screw people over, break some hearts, some early bottom hunters, just, to punish them a little bit, as the market often does. Usually there's like, before the bottom, there's like one more FU move. Now, I thought maybe that was one more FU move, but that was the beginning of May. There should be another one here in June somewhere. So we'll see how that goes. As it stands right now, the way this looks is, it looks to me like we got an inverted head and shoulders. So like shoulder, clearly neckline, head, back to neckline, shoulder somewhere in there. Seems logical to me. So that's kind of that Joe Biden, okay, we got to bring the stock market down into that big political event, the end of June, beginning of July, to make sure that everybody gets all the free money possible. As it stands right now, we're still working our way up, but dangerous place to get too excited on the bull side. In fact, when I went through sort of the rags here today, just watching. Now, keep in mind, Putin's doing his thing with Biden tomorrow, so I don't think a lot of people are going to step in front of that. But, just generally speaking, what color do you see here? Mostly on the day, it's been red. But actually, as we were going through the daily brief and stuff, just sort of talking, we were kind of like, hey, there's more green on here. So the green is starting to come back a bit. But on balance, it's been predominantly red here today. So I'm not in a hurry. If anything, this is another one of these sort of broadcasts that kind of just filling the space, filling the time. We kind of know that things are generally pointing uppy. Like, there's nothing that's really changed here, but at the same time, too, we still got to get through this seasonal kind of trophy period. If anything, what we should see is crypto actually lead, because I still think crypto is like the ultimate leading indicator in the market, especially for risk. So, that's kind of like this conversation. Was there there was some sort of decoupling kind of trade that happened with gold and Bitcoin here. Aside from that, we do see, look at the oil just fucking going crazy here. So with the oil looking at that, we often say it's very difficult for gold to rally with oil doing that. So it does make sense why gold is kind of paused here. There's the bonds trying desperately to bottom. Yen just can't buy a friend here. There's just nothing to get excited about here. I guess with the corn, this kind of looks mega phony. But, V bottom just of late. I'm a little worried that maybe we might have like one more FU before we get out of June. Just to see if they can break it. Just a few more people's hearts. But I do like the fact that we're getting late in this correction. Kind of like how you see in the gold. We should be starting to W out here and start head back up in the corn. And, of course, fucking stocks and oil are just going nuts here. Probably one thing maybe that's sort of holding the corn and technology stocks and all that kind of back is there used to be an old adage in the market that purchasing managers, they have a budget and they can throw X amount of dollars at certain things in their budget. And unfortunately, you got to drive your trucks. You got to pay for the electricity. You got to pay for the air conditioning. You got to pay for the lights, whatever. So your energy costs are fixed, right? And they're not even fixed. They're floating because the price is always moving. But you got no choice. You have to pay the energy tab. So when energy is like really expensive and ramping up like that, they actually cut back on things like technology purchases, which are discretionary. So to a certain degree, that might explain why maybe the corn and crypto is a bit softer. Is energy starting to get fucking expensive again? I mean, this is so stupid. Is the world in the middle of fucking COVID world? Is it really realistic that crude's $72 a barrel? No. Is it realistic that they've gone and diluted the shit out of the U.S. dollar, which this thing's priced in? And so as a result, this thing is being bid up because the U.S. dollar is so much more worthless. Yes. Does that fuck anybody that happens to have a couple of dollars in the bank and, they think they have some money in the bank and they're okay to pay rent and stuff? Yes, it completely fucks them. But do the bankers give a shit? No. Oh, well. So sad the way the bankers really screw the public over hard. Just every single cycle. It's a relentless. Kind of a lazy kind of market. You can see there's just not much moving here. It's very quiet. Typical summer market. Kiran and Daniele talked a lot about sort of summer doldrums kind of market state. This is kind of a funny one. I think I mentioned it. They did a financing here. Stock got whacked. It's what I would consider trading undervalued, so I went and bought some of this. But that's not a, oh my God, technical double bottom, huge momentum breakout. This thing's going to the moon on that. No, it's not like that at all. Anything, I almost consider this like a value play, and so I'm more than happy just to sit on this. But the irony of it all is, me, I sell half on a double. So if I go and buy her at $1.60, well, that means $3.20. Or in essence, filling this gap right here, I'm going to be selling half on a double. And really all that is just taking back whatever the nonsense fluff about this dump was today. And you tell me, if these guys get their act together, has this guy got a chance of trading back at $3 a share? How about $30 a share? Actually, I think so. And the irony of it all is if they really, and you have seen this, GameStop, American Theaters Company, whatever the hell that thing is. I mean, ironically enough, on a split adjusted basis, we could actually make the argument $300 a share. I mean, that's not out of the question. Look how high this thing, it just keeps going and going. Look at the old highs on a split adjusted basis, right? So $1,800 a share. That's a bit silly. Don't be thinking those kind of numbers. But could I just say something like 50% bounce of this range, and boom, $4.40. Can I get that free position established in case it wants to do something stupid? Get my original money back and just ride these free shares? Sure, why not? So that's kind of the fun that I've been doing in the market today. And you can see, look at, nothing's moving here. I mean, we are just stopped. Full stop. As I said, big meeting with Mr. Putin and Mr. Biden in the next, I think it's tomorrow. So I got a funny feeling there's a lot of people that are just like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till that's done before I go start spending money. So everything just appears to be parked. Good to see crypto is continuing to move higher. I had this bullish bot set up working from a few days ago. And I was wondering how this was going to play out here. So fascinating how we never did M out. You can see trailing stops. Oh, nothing really. Here we go. So it looks like they want to take her up now. We'll probably get rid of this little squiggly. Take her up into that bot objective. I actually like the idea, like you saw those squigglies, because now you can see this is actually a divergence. We've gone to new highs in price, but the momentum indicators are not going to new highs. That's actually a bit dangerous, folks. So you got maybe a nice big M up here, something like that, and actually you probably get a half decent trade. So you can see how big this one I had on here was. I think I would prefer a nice little tight little double top up there, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see. L Tangonator basically is half decent trade location. AB equals CD profit objective. That is a half decent harmonic trade objective with a bearish, a confirmed bearish momentum divergence. This one isn't quite confirmed yet, so it's still a bit early. But on that sort of push up top here and then the topping out, give us that L Tangonator. I like the idea of a nice little shot to the downside here. So we'll keep that on the books. Usually default risk reward is like 2 to 1. And as you can see, 50%. Actually, that's not a bad objective, right? This range here, assuming we do hit that high, 50% of that range, that's WD GAN. So if we go an M out here and you hit that, 2 to 1 risk reward, that makes sense to me. So that's developing. I would say the long is coming into its profit objective. And let's see, maybe there's some serious violence to this pop into this bot up level. We might see that this thing gets like really poppy here. So, let's keep our eyes peeled. Good to see. Like I said, nice leading indicator in the risk space. Little juniors looking a little pretty heavy. 1 high, 2 highs, 3 highs, 4 highs, 5 highs. And then now this, there's the bot short level. If somebody was short this bot, or I guess that makes sense, I wouldn't fault them. But remember, we're not really in the business of predicting the future. There's the setup. There's the trade. If you took it, I would say awesome. It better be in your trading plan. And you just live with the results. And there's not really much going on here right now. Did talk to, like I said, Kiran and Daniele. They're, futures traders. They're trading off of lower time frame charts. And Kiran looked at this chart and went, oh, fuck me. So that can't be a good sign. My hunch is this thing is still pointing down for now. But if we can actually start creating some bullish structure, you can see we went down, up, down, new low, up. And if we can pull back and maybe hold this low, make a higher low, well, we might have something to work with. Nice inverted head and shoulders there. Probably take us up and run these levels here to see whether this thing's actually really a bear still. As it stands right now, there's nothing for a guy like me to do here. Just big hurry up and do nothing. And if you were short, you're nail biting. Remember, this is the business where you have to learn how to be comfortable being uncomfortable. So really, that's what this is. Maybe, there was some clown that came on the YouTube page there a few days ago. Oh, Bitcoin's going to zero. Bitcoin's going to zero. I don't know. It might go to zero. It might not. I don't really think those kind of conversations are constructive. So, if you listen to him, then you're still a bear. Maybe you're in this short and you're just going to ride it to fruition. So, it's trader's life. I'll just simply say, if we break up through on this, shitcoin perp, what does that say? 73.46.5 roughly. If we're up through there, then probably the bear trade is done. Well, not probably. The bear trade is done. So, hurry up and do nothing. I think I showed you, I don't think it's boredom. I mean, absolutely hate chasing up markets. So, I love to go in and buy shit that they're just throwing away. I love this. This is Brian's FOMO. So I have fear of missing out when I see them just absolutely crater something like this. I'm fearful that this is going to bounce right back up into resistance and I'm going to miss a total easy, profitable trade. That's sort of my FOMO. Whereas, of course, everybody else, their FOMO is chasing up markets. So this would be sort of the hallmark of Brian getting really excited in the market. The public looks at this and goes, that's a train wreck. What are you doing? But I look at the world very, very differently than all of you. So, it's a crazy world. So, actually, there are a couple crypto names because, like this Bitcoin chart, there are a couple names that kind of look attractive. There's Luna, for example. I went and picked up some of this because, you tell me, is there a letter of the alphabet that Beamish guy kind of likes? If you saw this chart and then you asked me, well, Brian, did you buy this W? And I said, nah, W's are for losers. Well, then, what the fuck are you doing listening to me at all? I'd be totally hypocritical. So, the good part about it is you should look at that and go, well, that kind of looks like a W. You think Brian bought? And I go, yep, I went and bought, so let's see what happens. Only time will tell. And interestingly enough, if we get our 2.618, that will confirm this bigger bottom and it'll bust this M top here. And I thought it was really interesting. Kiran, he's kind of like, well, this is actually such a critically important level for me. Number one, the original breakdown fail level. But also, notice that this is the counter trend rally fail level as well. So, clearly, market tanked, opened up, took a rally back up top, and there were just so many sellers at this level that the market just puked right back out. So, probably this is where the key battle is, and lo and behold, look at what just so happens to be there. And I did find it interesting that that's just about double off of the bottom here. So if this level is broken, look at this, Fog and Bob. Look how that just so happens to be against all these highs. Coincidence? I don't think so. So, Brian buys W's. This is an interesting one because this was a leader. I mean, back at the beginning of the year, there wasn't a hell of a lot that was insanely bullish. This one was insanely bullish. And it's fascinating. They, in very typical technical fashion, they had to get rid of the fluff, get rid of the over exuberance. In fact, Alan Greenspan used to call this irrational exuberance. And bring it back down into reload zones. And actually, I went and bought some on the 78.6 tag, and then I went and added to it on the double bottom. I don't know what's going to happen here, but that looks like a risk worth taking. So that's the kind of stuff I'm doing in the market. Look at, wow, these markets are swinging all over the place here. So, caveat emptor. Look at that, we got 5 people. I see all you 5 people. I wonder where you're watching from. We should conjecture as to, and it says there's 9 playbacks. So I wonder who all those people are. So whoever it is you're not supposed to be here, and you know you're not supposed to be here. So let's try and refrain from doing this behavior going forward, okay? Thank you. All right, I think we'll leave the rant at that for today. What day is today? Tuesday? So we got TRISOF, our secret options formula group. We'll meet tonight. Talk a little bit, probably quite a bit about warrants and SPACs. They seem to be very popular now. Hey, look at that. We just jumped up to 6 viewers. I swear, Google, you're a funny company. Yes, you are. Kevin, on Wednesdays, we have him come in and chat with the community. So hopefully, maybe Kevin will have an idea or two from the meeting tonight to share. And just slow and steady wins the race. Okay, everybody, have yourselves a great day. PMA for the win. Don't take no wooden nickels. Remember what your number one job is, and why are you guys crashing these daily brief recap videos? I can't figure that out. All right, have yourselves a great day. All the best, and bye for now.